Hey, good morning, everybody. We'll open our meeting with a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, first thing we have on our agenda is EMS bid openings. Mr. Ritter, can you come out? The first one's from Heartland Ambulance Services, if you'd like to open it up. What we're going to do is just say who we got the bids from today and take them under advisement, because there's a committee set up to interview and everything will be made public later.
It does include the check for the surety bond that will turn over to the auditor's office.
Okay. So everything's there to look at.
Yes.
You need to. The next one will be, I believe it's Franklin County EMS.
All will be included and does contain the surety bond checks that we turn over to the auditor's office.
And I think the third and final proposal is from Let's Volunteer EMS. Sorry.
Look at everything and as well have a surety bond check that will be turned over to the auditor's office.
So tell us the process now. You're going to take the,
Commissioners take these under advisement. Let me step back here. Commissioners will take these under advisement. There's been a committee appointed that consists of one commissioner, one council member, a citizen appointed by the commissioners, the 911 director, and the chief deputy from the sheriff's department that will comprise the EMS committee. Interviews have been scheduled for Tuesday, December the 5th. The committee will interview each of the providers in a public meeting. While that meeting is public, it'll be for the vendor to do a presentation of the proposal and for the committee to ask questions of the vendors. It's not an open forum. Members of the public will be permitted to ask questions of the vendors. From that meeting, there'll be reference checks completed. The committee will then reconvene and deliberate their findings in the interviews, the reference checks, the information they received in the interview in preparation of making a recommendation to commissioners at their meeting on the 13th of December. In the event that there is something in the proposals that disqualifies any of the three, that bidder will be eliminated from consideration. The committee will shortlist if needed.
so they can't redact or add to anything.
There can be follow-up questions if the committee deems that they wanted additional information on whatever. That additional information can be provided to the committee by the vendor after the Q&A.
Okay.
Yes. From that point, the recommendation was made to commissioners to award the project to vendor X, which will then allow the county attorney and I to move into contract negotiations with that selected vendor. Short of there being any obstacles that is unforeseen, we would be on track to meet that timeline in the first quarter for signing. I guess if I push the button, my apologies.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Ritter? Thanks, Barry.
Thank you.
Hey, Mr. Stubbs.
Good morning. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Ted Stubbs, and I manage the Brookville Lake Regional Waste District. With me today is Andy Sauerland, and he's also employed by the district. I've been with the district for 26 years, and come January, my intention is to retire. And Andy will be taking my place at that time. I'll still stay with the district in a limited capacity. What we did earlier, I think you guys all received an email from us, and that's just a summary of the district's activities. As an appointing board to the district, or appointing body, we try to keep you abreast of what's going on. I think it's been a few years, unfortunately, with COVID and things going on, I'll offer no excuses, but I haven't been to see you for some time. The intention is for that to change over this year, and we'll at least email you status of what's going on with the district. I really don't have anything other to add today. You have the report I introduced Andy, but I'll certainly answer any questions you might have.
I have a question. Where is your jurisdiction on that stuff for the Brookville Lakes?
There's in the area plan office, they've got a copy of a map that we left them that showed the jurisdiction, because it involves townships in both Union and Franklin County, and it's kind of semi-gerrymandered through the years. It starts out rather slow, right at the edge of Brookville, and then it kind of grows as we get into the county line, and then extend ultimately all the way up to the Wayne County line. I think when it was formed, there was no intention that all of that district, it encompasses 157 square miles. And I don't think it was ever envisioned that all of that would have public sewers, nor would they need them, because that's not necessarily the best use in some areas, or it's not cost effective. But really, if you want to get a really good idea of it, you can go down to their office, and I think they've got it up by now. We provided with it, and that'll may clarify some of it. Because we're just parts of some towns, parts of some areas, and it's just, it's hard to explain exactly where it's at.
Yeah.
Most of our service, that date on that was on the report, most of our service exists along the lake in 101. We pick up areas in both Union and Franklin County, Hickory Woods Campground. A lot of the new development in that area is connected to our sewer, whether it be the Stonegate cabins, the Reed building, those type. We've got Country Charm Estates, the town of New Fairfield. Those would be all that would be served in Franklin County. Smith Welding. We have about 1,700 customers.
So you guys are willing to expand to your jurisdiction?
Well, as we said in the report, I think expansion is, what we're doing right now is we're doing it in a very limited capacity. There's been developers that have approached us, like most recently we'll be working on a 10-lot subdivision that's going to go in where service exists. We don't have any massive expansion plans at all, because I think out of respect, we're all user supported, period. Our revenue comes from the users. So the board tries their hardest, and a number of our board members are customers of the district, and tries their hardest to make good physical decisions based upon that.
Would your board be willing to sit down and have some discussions about stuff?
Board's always open to discuss.
Okay.
We welcome that.
You guys have a question?
Do we want to talk about that report right now from IDEM?
I don't know, John, do you want to discuss that IDEM report now or later?
You might as well do it now. John, did you want to mention what the letter was?
So we received a letter from IDEM reporting that there had been a complaint filed for wastewater on Reservoir Hill. And I don't know if you know immediately if your area would encompass.
Yeah.
Hill.
The Reservoir Hill area is
Areas
within the district, correct?
So, somehow the state was brought out and they looked at some different properties up there and violations were found. We've been given 30 days to reply with a plan as to what we're going to do. We had a situation where we were working, they were working with the town of Brookville on providing sewage to Reservoir Hill. The town has rescinded that situation, that money. So now we get $1.5 million that we were awarded, it's going back. We, as I see it, have basically three avenues on which to proceed. Either number one, we work with Brookville Lake Regional Wastewater District, see if you guys can take on the project that John and his group have been working on. I don't know what your contract with Brookville is, and if the added waste from the hill would exceed your contract, that would have to be negotiated again, or if there's enough in your contract to go ahead and add that.
Where do you want me to start?
Option number two is that we find a way to borrow money, and the county go ahead and put in sewage to the residents on the hill. Or option number three is that each of the homeowners that are in violation is going to be tasked with fixing that if it's a fixable situation. Some of the ground up there, it just doesn't sit right for septic. But I was called last Tuesday morning. I was called that IDEM was in town, and they were going to be walking through the area. I actually walked through with them on this, and found black water running into creeks, which are dumping into ponds, and did not personally see a situation where anything was leading to the lake, but I'm told that there are properties that also have waste that runs directly to the lake. So anyway, it's an issue. We have to come up with something within the next 30 days from last Friday in order to resolve this.
So it makes sense to have a discussion. Certainly it's unfortunate that in rural Indiana, that's the case everywhere. We can name communities in Franklin County, communities in Union County that if IDEM were called, the same thing would apply. I'm not making excuses for any of that. As far as the district is concerned, in trying to look at your options, there are some severe limitations for us to be able to provide sewer to and or transport it to Brookville, because as you had mentioned, we're under contract with Brookville to treat the waste that comes from the district. Yes, to answer your question about renegotiating anything, if you ever got to that point, it would have to be. Our challenge is the closest place to even hook to us, and we've been advised from our engineer that it's a very sensitive area, would be behind the cobblestone. Even the cobblestone didn't hook to us. The cobblestone's hooked to Brookville sewers. We've executed interlocal agreements. We've turned over, say, Gilman's and that whole area. That's being served, even though it's in the district, that's being served by the town. And we respect any of those boundaries from the towns, from wherever it may be. I mean, the districts, while the district, some would make the argument that our job is to reach out and take care of all septic type problems, all wastewater problems. There's nothing that says you're not taking care of your job if you're delegating that to another community, and we do the same in Liberty. You know, it makes more sense. Liberty is, we've executed interlocals with the town of Liberty also, just so they can better provide the service. But for us to entertain a project like that, I'm talking, we're looking at it to do it according to the way we would do it. It wouldn't be handing us a project. It would take 2 to 3 years from start to finish.
What I'd like to do is sit down and have a discussion with you.
I think so. I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. We're open to it. You've got my number, I think, on the update that I sent you, and be more than happy.
So I think we were at the point where we already had contractors with specs put together to run the project that had been presented to us, right? And then you just raised a question in my mind. So Brookville Lake Regional Wastewater District is contracted with town of Brookville to accept the sewage there. They had an agreement worked out with Brookville to do this, and Brookville's got a rate in place for out-of-town residents.
Well,
So they,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Brookville has, if Brookville provides
Yes.
the service,
Yes.
they have a rate for out-of-town residents. If we were to work with Brookville Lake Regional Wastewater District, I would assume that your rate would exceed what Brookville has, so that
I guess we have it to a degree what you call a wholesale rate. We're responsible for 30% of all the expenses of the wastewater treatment plant. We have fixed expenses that we pay monthly. We pay that 30% of any debt service load that the town would have. We pay 30% of any major repairs or upgrades that they have. We also pay a treatment cost, and that includes repairs that have happened, and typically we're under a contract that every 5 years we take another look at the contract, and ultimately the treatment costs, your fixed expenses don't change because the debt hasn't changed yet. Those type of things, and then we have a replacement expense that's a fixed expense to Brookville. Does that answer your question?
it does. But do you know offhand how your rate to the average homeowner compares to the out-of-town rate for Brookville?
No, I don't. I know in most all towns that provide out-of-town service has like a surcharge or a percentage to it. I think in Liberty it's 30 or 40%, I believe. Our residential rate for a home along our line that hooks up today is $51 a month. And they own, operate, and maintain everything on their property. So there's a lot of differences. You referenced this project, and I've had some limited discussions concerning that project, but there's a lot of differences there. And certainly the district would not change the way it does business for those differences.
There's 2 different types of systems too, Daniel. Yours are pressure and
We're a low pressure sewer that uses grinder pumps.
and they're gravity.
Yeah, this I think was kind of a step system that was proposed. I really can't comment on that because I haven't done that much research on it, given the fact that the intention at that time or the thought at that time. So it's like when it came to the district in 1996, one of the first things told me by the town board of Brookville was, don't touch Reservoir Road Hill because we intend to, because of its growth and everything else, we intend to annex it. And that's been something that was echoed back and forth for a few years, and certainly recently some things have changed.
Okay.
So be more than happy if you decide.
We'll be giving you a call here.
Yep.
Try to make it this week or the first of next week.
Okay, and hopefully I answer all your questions, okay?
Unless,
It's confusing. It's very convoluted. I mean, it really is, and once we start talking about it, you'll get an understanding of how confusing it is. Appreciate it. We're always available. Give us a call. You have the email address and you have my phone number. Thank you.
thanks, Ted.
So if, and I don't know who this question will go to,
You better come up to the microphone, Shelley.
I don't know who this question will go to, it would be Ted or to the commissioners, and you may not know the answer to this yet, but if it were sewage was run out there either by the county or through regional waste district, would it be a forced hookup, or would it be optional? Or do you not know that yet? Would everybody?
I can answer what our statute provides for, because that's where the confusion is. In our statute, and I never realized how political wastewater to be until I came to the district. And I spent a lot of time at the State House and looking at the statute and working with committees and coming up with some logic or common sense type requirements. And then touching on connecting. There are exemption mechanisms in our statute available for people when you're planning a project. And the first thing we would do is we write letters to the health departments of both counties, and we have them, allow them to respond on whether they would be forced to connect, required to connect, I hate to use the word forced, or encouraged to connect. So what we do in the statute is, what they would do is they pull the health department records, and if there's a record of a septic system that's been involved in the system, that's less than 10 years old, then they would be exempt from connecting. And they would have the ability to have 2 more 5-year exemptions. And the idea behind that was to allow them to take advantage of the cost that they put into a modern system. Most of our septic systems, when we talk about it, and if you're taking yourself back 30, 40, 50 years, they're not septic systems, really. I mean, they've done the job because it's the best we can do. So within our statute, you also have what they call if it's like a piece of farmland, there's an exemption for like a 10-acre parcel. So there are exemption mechanisms available, but you start with the assumption, because you have to identify your customer base. There's no way you can go into any project without knowing your customer base. Otherwise, you're upside down financially before you know it. So to answer your question, as far as the required connections, it would be there, but they would be notified of all the exemption mechanisms that are at their disposal. And that's why I make the comment. A lot of people shake their head and say, oh my gosh, 3 years. But by the time you get through all of this, and there's things been put in the statute where there's a 90-day or 180-day period that you have to wait, a lot of time goes by. But the idea is to allow those people with those functioning systems to continue the use of that. So did that answer?
Yes, it did,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you, Ted.
Okay, Marty Hacker, Reservoir Road. My only comment is, since when did an individual problem become a community problem? If there's problems up on the Reservoir Road, that somebody's got bad sewage or bad septic system, why is it becoming everybody's problem? Why don't they take care of their own problem?
Well, one thing I think, Marty, is some of the lots are big, if their system has failed, but the lot isn't big enough to do another system on it. So they have a problem. I mean, if you can't have a septic system, it's a possibility the health department could condemn that property.
Yeah, again, that's an individual problem, not a community problem.
It depends on how many up there would have a problem.
It's still an individual problem. See, you guys are doing this, and I just don't quite understand how it becomes a community problem when it's an individual problem. If my septic goes bad, am I going to ask all my neighbors to help me build it? Build new one? No. I'm going to bear the responsibility and the cost.
But right now, Marty, and I understand your argument.
It's not really an argument, it's just a statement. It's just,
I know, but I understand where you're coming from, and if it was a one-off situation, I think it would be different. But the thing is, right now, we have an opportunity for, we had an opportunity to get $4.5 million of free money to work on to work on providing this to them, and provide some growth to the area at the same time with.
that's not the only place that you can grow. There's a lot of places in Franklin that can grow.
Yes, but now we've got a problem that we have to address as well.
An individual problem.
So,
It's an individual problem.
but it's not an individual. There are multiple individuals up there. And again, I said previously, why I did not witness, any other. We walked through several areas, and I could not say that I saw, other than in one particular area, an issue. I am aware that there are others there that are going to have problems.
But I understand, what you guys need to understand is that there's a lot of people up there that you're gonna force to hook on to a system that they have no desire to. A lot of people up there. Why do you think they ended up turning down the system through the town? Because a lot of people don't want it. They don't want to be pushed into anything.
There are a lot of people, or there are several people up there that don't want that. There are.
And I know there's people that are crying because their system is failing, but that's an individual problem. It's not a community.
There are as many or more that want the opportunity. And
I don't agree.
I have a question. Bottom line is we have to be able to provide a plan. Now we're forced into a situation where we have to provide a plan as to how we're going to resolve it. So we need to take the next steps and look at Brookville Lake Regional Wastewater and see if that's an option for us.
I understand all this, and I understand all this, and what I'm getting at is, why don't you start at the bottom instead of at the top? Why don't you start with, let's try to figure out who's got the problems, and can they fix it themselves? You're going all the way to the top, and you're going to run sewer up there for everybody forced to be hooked on. If their septic is over 10 years old, you're got to hook on. There's no exception. And that's a lot of people up there that's got systems that are older than 10 years old. Got a guy sitting right back here that's got a septic that's failed, but yet he puts $100,000 into his backyard. He's the one that started all this thing years ago. But he can spend $100,000 on a pool and a tiki bar and all his hot tubs and everything, but he can't fix his own septic. He needs a break. I mean, it's not a community problem; it's an individual problem. I'm sorry, I'm done.
I just have a question. What if you were in a situation where you had your system failed and there wasn't any other option to make it work? The only option would be to condemn the property.
Then you condemn my property. There's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing I can do.
So you'd be willing to forego relatively inexpensive for each one that needed it, you would forego that. This is a one-time opportunity.
I understand.
And I can care less whether you do it or not. I really don't care if it doesn't apply to me, but I'm just looking for everybody involved.
You guys are misunderstanding me, I think. I want sewer up there if it's done correctly and done right. I want it. That's the problem we have in the town is they didn't know what they were doing. They had no idea what was going on. You ask questions and you can't get an answer.
Right.
But I was just saying, my question was just, I'm so confused as to why an individual's problem becomes a community problem. I see you guys started out by saying you had a complaint from IDEM, so you understand. I understand you want to take over the sewer project. I'm all for it. But when you say it's an IDEM problem, now you have to run sewer to everybody up there. It's an individual problem, not a community.
And I see what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. But we've got, two issues. Number one, we've got those individuals that have problems right now. And we've got a project in front of us that has been worked on, that.
Oh, like I said, I'm all for the project if it's done correctly.
Right. And so are we. And the problem is that in all the meetings that we've had to this point, and you have been more involved than I have, because it wasn't our project. But all the meetings that we've had to this point, we were dealing with information from one vendor, okay, who had provided an estimate for what it would cost to provide this, okay. That vendor wants to be a part of the bid process when we had gotten to that. So there were things within that estimate was worked up, the proprietary information of that vendor that couldn't be shared publicly without jeopardizing his bid to the other contractor, because we've been giving information to the contractors that he'd be bidding against, and if that wasn't explained properly to the groups, that's what we had. So they had they had information from the Chafee system, okay? And they want to be a part of the bid process. So, I mean, in the end, we want to put in the right product. We want the right thing to go in there that's going to take care of it. I live there.
Yeah.
I'm one of those that I don't have any problems right now. Okay.
I guess what I'm getting at, John, is the basic thing is don't use IDEM and the failures of septic systems to create what you're proposing to do. You want to run sewer up on the hill for builders and developers. I understand all that. Just say it. Just do it. Why IDEM was called in, I just think that's so wrong.
I don't disagree with that, and the timing and everything.
Yeah, that's just fine.
I get that, but in the end, it is both the development, and then we talked all along, or I know they've talked all along about issues with others up there that should have that opportunity. If we're going to run by, we need to be able to fix the problems that exist right now as we run by those.
So I just gone already, but I'm sure Ted can answer the question, but that's the other thing you got out of the town is they said, well, you don't even have to hook up, you can just go on by. You can't just go on by. The state doesn't let you do that.
And I guess, option number 4, I don't know if they're listening, but I talked about 3 options. Option number 4, I guess, would be for town of Brookville to reconsider the situation altogether, come back and vote to accept the project, and let us move forward. If they were to consider the vote again, I guess that's another option that's out there as well.
Well, the only thing I can ask as an individual is that if you're going to run sewer up there, be open and above board and have plenty of meetings and tell the public what's going on.
I agree.
We want to do it that too, Marty, because every time we have a meeting, we don't want you here saying, and this system ain't worth crap. It's not moving our sewage down, we want the right thing to do too.
I know, and Metamore is a perfect example.
Absolutely.
That was completely done wrong. So,
I think they're finally smoothing out a little bit. Over the last 20 years, they've had their problems.
yeah, but back to my basic statement is an individual problem shouldn't become a community problem. So try to work on individuals. I agree. And like I said, I'm all for sewer if it's done right.
Agreed.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
All right.
Real quick, I'm Sam Bragg, Hill or Reservoir Road. I believe Mr. Hacker was referring to my property. First of all, my property has never been, I've never been notified of any type of violation that I have as far as septic system or anything like that. Number 2, I don't think we have any idea what the scope of the problem is up there. I mean, obviously, IDEM, and I had no part of what IDEM was on my property. They were on the golf course property adjacent to me. I don't believe any of the pictures in the letter are from any of those areas. But I don't believe we know the scope of the problem. This was kind of a fly-by investigation, or whatever you want to call it. So, this may be bigger than just a couple different properties. And are we going to be dealing with this thing? They're going to come back in a year from now, say we get these 3 properties or 5 properties fixed. They're going to come back in a year from now and say, well, there's 10 more properties that we found, or we're testing the rivers or the streams, and we've got a bigger problem than we thought. The biggest issue is we've got $4.5 million sitting there right now. That is going to go away quickly. So you can say we want to do all these different meetings and, we got to do more research and all that kind of stuff. While this $4.5 million is going to go away quickly. What I'm asking is that the commissioners in the town work together right now to at least keep that $4.5 million on the table.
until we have some type of solution. And that solution may be with you guys in 30 days saying, hey, those properties that we saw that were investigated, we're going to fix them. And we're going to take our chances down the road. And I'm fine with that. But to let $4.5 million go off of the table right now, shame on us. I mean, you're talking, and I've talked to Bill a little bit about the thing. I've been to a few of the meetings, and I didn't even know the town was getting ready to rescind the grant. But the issue becomes, if there's 160 homes up here that can hook on that have existing septic systems that are older, and there's $1.5 million that goes toward those hookups, you're talking about, anywhere from an $18,000 to $20-some thousand benefit to that particular region or to that particular area. When talking to Bill, he said, it's probably about a $7,500 benefit to everybody that runs the line up and hooks on for existing. And I know, my system's 25 years old. I don't know if I have a problem if I don't. I've never had it tested. Probably Marty doesn't know if he has a problem or if he doesn't. I'm assuming he's never had his system tested. Until you get a lot of rainwater up there in the spring, and you see all the water running into the ditches, we don't know who's got a problem and who doesn't. But to let $4.5 million go away right now, I think is insane. So I don't care what the solution is, but my thing is, let's do whatever we can right now to at least keep the $4.5 million in play. That's all I'm asking. Thank you.
I think right now, if I remember hearing some of the conversations, that right now it don't cost you anything to hook up. It's all the homeowner will be responsible for is from the tank into their house. That's it. All the rest will be free. If this money goes away and IDEM forces the county to do something like they did at Mattermore, it's going to cost them to hook up. I mean, you're talking probably several $1,000s. So that $4.5 million is a big deal. I mean, whether people realize it or not.
In addition to that, you've got, Bill sits on the Fred board. You've got more ready money that's coming downstream. If you're on that 6-county board, and Brookville, Franklin County has turned back the $4.5 million that was given to us before, why on earth are we going to get looked at for the next project that comes down the pipe?
Go ahead.
Nancy Bain, Director of Main Street Brookville. So our organization, we focus on reservation-based economic development organization. We focus on downtown Brookville. We were looking at this project as having phenomenal multiple benefits to the town of Brookville, but also to our school system, putting more students in the pipeline for our Franklin County school system. I know they all know this, but I do want to state it publicly, and Bill, check me on my facts, but the whole READY grant, there was a total of $500 million for Indiana.
$500 million from the state, correct.
Right. And the portion, and one of the requirements of the grant was that it be regional. The state wanted regions to work together for economic development for their region. And so SEI Ready was formed, South Richmond, Indiana Ready was formed. 6 counties. So 6 counties got together, looked at all the projects that were out there, and they made the determination that 1/3 of the grant that they received was to go to this sewer project on Reservoir Hill. So there's a lot of places in 6 counties to build houses. However, they made the determination that it benefited all 6 counties to have the sewer line put up on Reservoir Hill to be able to allow for further housing. development. I think that in itself makes a huge statement. And the logic of all this is because the 6 counties know that Franklin County, there's more people that leave the county for their day jobs or night jobs than come into the county. So they saw it as a very definite benefit to 6 counties. So again, I just want to state, this is the reason why $4.5 million economic development in our county is absolutely huge, to where, it's just, will have huge impacts, not only for the county, for the town, for the schools, for the hospitals, for all the business owners in Brookville. And that's a very solid platform to stand on. Thanks.
All right, we're going to move on with our agenda here. John, ARPA money on water project.
Two things. First of all, the water project is, there's 2 water projects I need to talk about. First of all, Veronica Bullock, if you rolled over, and you've probably seen her trudging across the parking lot during summer, dragging 5-gallon buckets of water, the garden area here at the Walton Park. She was able to secure money, through grant. Shelley. I'm going to turn it over to them in just a minute, but it came down to this. They were about $1,300 short to complete this project. And they're asking for $1,300 short from our money. A really small amount. But the benefit from this has been remarkable. So you produce food, you use food pantries, and this is where people get food for free. They can't afford their own, things like that. Over there, they've done a really good job with this. Getting the money they needed. I'll let you talk about how much you got, things like that. But they're only asking for $1,300 for a project to me because it's worth much more than that. So I'll let them tell you more about what they've done. But they're asking you to approve that $1,300 to make up their difference to get this thing finished. So.
I'm very proud of you guys, Veronica, what you did. I hate to see you do a water project because all the good extras, look at your mustache. You saved it from going to
Yeah,
jail.
dragging the hoses across the parking lot, and Veronica did much more of that than I did. Usually when I came to the water was already there. She'd already carried it on. But anyway, the work has been done. There's been a water faucet installed there, a winter-proof water faucet. And so now next summer, we have 4 raised handicap accessible beds, and last year we only planted 1 of them because of the water situation, hauling the water there. So now that we've got the water, we'll be able to plant more, and we actually have a couple more lower raised beds that we have not put together yet and put out, but we'll be able to put all of the beds there and plant a lot more vegetables next summer because we've actually got access to water there now. So.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that, well, I appreciate all the support you've given us in this project to this point, and we knew that going into it that the water was going to be an issue, and with expansion especially, and we've received, which I've presented before at other meetings, several grant dollars, and specifically for the water project, we got a $3,500 grant from Reed Health, which that helped cover the $1,000 tapping fee from the town to put the meter in, and also the meter installation. And then part of the cost of the final running the line, putting in the hydrant from Port Melco. So all we have, we used all the $3,500 and just have that additional $1,300 left to finish the project. Yeah, like Shelley said, it's all complete. You can see the hydrant out there. It's behind the 4th raised bed and the landscaping and the pollinator garden. So we're super excited about that. And yeah, no hoses, no buckets, hopefully in the future.
Yeah, I have no problem using our money to help around here. And this is not the only place they do it, to have gardening, there's several other places that has really helped a lot of people up far on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the $1,300 out of ARPA money to pay for their water.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Well, we really appreciate your support and thank you
It's always good enough.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
I'll let you guys sign this, and I'll talk to you about the hard water project. We'll take that to council and have that approved. Your last meeting, Tom Michael showed up and said that there were bills already started following water line over the county park. John, you had received the communications from the Franklin County Water Association. They were interested in participating, which was a change. But finally heard from their council president last night, and that the estimate that they came up with, they didn't give you a number, but he said it was much higher than they thought it would be. And Hoosier Hills is still happy to supply water to the county park for the original $200,000 price. And so I say at this point, with Franklin County Water saying it was way too expensive compared to what they thought it was going to be, we should go ahead and give it any question about that. And that's bringing water to the park up to the forest, be able to bring that later.
I think when I asked Tom, he was not able to say that they were going to be able to do that for $200,000. I mean, do we have an estimate from them?
Yes, and we need to do a full engineering study. We had multiple discussions with their engineer, also with Tom. And in fact, last night, he thought, council meetings last night, I met him on the way out in Brookville, and I said, just double check, you can do this or that online. And they said, yes. And if they can't, then we won't pay them. So it's, that's one interesting thing about having these projects, having dollars put on, you know how to spend, and we can't spend more than that. So. But if you three don't object, I'm just going to go ahead and get that started, get the engineering studies done, things like that, we'll draw it down, and there's no money to spend, or the whole money is associated with these projects. Go with that. There is one other thing, the health program, I'm on next on the list anyway. We're in the final stage of getting all this completed. We have a meeting tomorrow with Okra about final stages of a couple of projects where we're spending what they call CDBG money, it's federal money, and so we're going to iron out some details there. I also was told that we needed to basically shut down the community consultant coordinator position with mine by the end of November, and so there's a final draw on that for you guys to approve the claims today. It does not mean I'm going away. It means that I'm just going to keep doing it until we get these projects completed, and the projects of the county and the town are all in that. So the town's principal project right now is to do the parking lot down near the park so that they get better ADA access to the activities down there. They also want to do a business incubator system, things like that. Again, details, we're going to stick with that until it's all done. We're also informed us that we have to spend money that we promised to spend. As match money, if we don't do that, we're going to be rolled back. There's no intention not to do that. Part of the meeting tomorrow was about telling us how we're going to do that. We'll be providing, have to provide receipts for things. For instance, John, when we went to the closing on the building in Metamora, I had to send him a copy of that, how much we paid, things like that. So the position will still continue as long as you guys want me to do it. And I intend to do it until every last project is done. So whether it be Laurel, Metamora, the county project, we'll do that. So that's where we're at health. We're not done yet. We're in that final stage of getting everything implemented. And before I leave, I would like to ask you three to make a motion or something where you would like to say that on record you support us trying to keep the project going for the sewers and not have that money go away. I'm not exactly sure how to say that. Grant, are you on the line? Grant?
Yes, can you hear me?
Do you have a suggestion on how to state that? Because I don't want to make them, I don't want to obligate us to do anything unless we put the whole thing together and make it work.
Yeah, I would just make it, if what they wish to do is make a general motion of support, obviously contingent upon being able to find a workable plan.
John shaking, he said yes.
Okay, I'll make that motion. I'll make a motion to try to keep that $4.5 million here, to find a plan that works, and if it don't, then we'll notify the Red Cross that we're sorry, we're going to put away $4.5 million to public everyone can.
I think that would work. What I need is for us to take the board of directors meeting for SEI ready and let them know that we're still committed to try to do this.
And I'll second Tom's motion.
All in favor?
And then I'll get a print copy of that and take some time before next Monday. That would be great. Okay, that's all I have, folks. Thank you very much, and we'll let you go on for the rest of your business.
Thanks, John.
Caitlin, are you here?
A few weeks ago, the APC board voted to hire a new attorney for 2024. And their contract should be there for you guys to sign. His name is Jeff Wesley.
Yeah, and you have the 9,500 in place, correct? It's been appropriated by county.
I believe so.
Pardon?
I believe so.
I believe it's a very simple contract. I mean, if you have the money, you know, I don't have a problem. So I'll make a motion to let the APC hire their own attorney. I mean, we have one now, it's just, she left.
Yeah.
Godfrey, or is it Jeffrey? Jeffrey Washington.
Yeah, I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Debbie, you here, Debbie?
Schumann?
No, Debbie's on here. Well, this is a yearly thing. I think that she has a contract with Dan Chadden to do her splits off the GSI related services. I mean, it's something that's been going on for several years. And Debbie has already signed the contract, and so has Dan, if the commissioner so approved. And it's for $420 monthly to do all the splits.
I make a motion that we approve the assessor's contract for GIS services.
I'll second.
All in favor? Does anybody else have anything before we go into the stormwater thing? That's going to take a while, Bill.
I just can't get this sewer thing out of my mind, but anyway, so I'm going to ask that the three commissioners schedule a special meeting before the end of the week with the town board.
Which town?
Brookville Town Board, so that we can put everybody in a circle, because I do believe time is critical.
I think we have till December the 5th.
December the 5th is when the SEI Ready Board meets. And if the money is there to be reallocated, the rest of the region will have to spend. So I believe that working together with the town, we could probably possibly save this $4.5 million. We have a better chance of waiting until after the 5th, because if it lands on the table, it's been spent 3 times already as far as I'm concerned. Okay. So I'd just like to ask the commissioners, and I'm not sure what type of timing or needs to be taking place, or if he's still available, he may be able to tell us how that's involved and who has to call, but I'm going to ask that a special meeting be put in place, and I would ask that the Brookville Regional Waste District be involved in that too.
reaching out to the town of Brookville and see if they would meet with us, but I think you have to give a 48-hour public notice to do that. And we can invite Brookville Regional Waste. I mean, they're not on the schedule. Do you guys have a problem with that? No. We'll reach out to, I guess, probably Gina today then and see if they can.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stormwater. It is open for discussion between the board.
I was ready to motion today that we ask Grant to formalize the last stormwater plan that we had in front of us, and leaving the drainage board in the process. And I know that was a sticking point, and I'm not opposed to the drainage board being in the process. I just think it streamlines things for the public that's applying for, or is going through the application process, excuse me. But I was ready to motion that we ask Grant to finalize that version for adoption at our next meeting. And today we were given the document from Purdue to look at. So I don't know where you guys stand on.
I know a lot of cities and counties are going by this new Purdue standards that they have developed. And I think the main reason Purdue developed these standards on stormwater is so every county would have the same line. If you're a contractor in Marion County and you come to Franklin County, you would know what the standards are that have been adopted statewide. I think that's the reason that was developed that way. And what you were going to motion to finalize today, almost all that is in Purdue's standards that they have come up with for stormwater, except for, they call it EMS4, which is cities or counties, it's over 50,000 in population, which we're half of that. So, but we can adopt those standards. I think maybe Brookville and Basin fit into that MS4 because they have their own sewer systems, but I don't know, that's my feeling.
So I've not been able to read through Purdue's document yet, but if we could, I guess I could motion that we ask Grant to put together an ordinance adopting this Purdue document for stormwater drainage, or stormwater control for our next meeting. That would give the three of us time to review Purdue's plan and vote on accepting that at our next meeting.
And that's excluding that whole provision, or is that included in it? Is that, those doesn't have to be included in it, or can we leave them out?
I would accept, or I would ask that he, or that we accept the plan as it's written. That portion which doesn't pertain to us would automatically
Just be irrelevant,
be
right?
irrelevant as part of the plan, but we'd accept the plan as written by Purdue.
And provided it comes, that we're still have the final say as a drainage board. And is that what you intended?
Correct.
Yeah, I'm good with that. I'll second that motion.
I think if you read in there, I think a drainage plan would come to the drainage board and also to the surveyor to look at together at the same time. He would have to look at it and make a recommendation to the drainage board, and then we would make that recommendation. So that is in the process. So.
And most of the time it wouldn't even be an extra step, I think, unless something came up that he would just flow through, hopefully.
Okay.
Let it take, I thought it was gonna be here for another hour. The bond ordinance. I don't know what we have to do with that.
It's contingent on council's approval. They changed their date of meeting, it was supposed to be last night.
Okay. So do we have to do this today?
Yes, I think it's on a timeline, isn't it? Yeah. But you have to say it's contingent upon their approval.
Because they deal with the bond, right? We don't. Okay, I'll make a motion that contingent upon council's approval that ordinance number 2023-20 be approved with council's approval on whatever they're doing in their bond. I don't even know what they're planning on doing or how they plan on spending the money if they are at all.
I think it's the paragraph that shows the roadway improvements and acquisition of vehicle technology and equipment. I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Oh, the next thing we got is a resolution for claim schedule. Is this approved, Erica? This is what you need for claims?
Yep, all of them.
Okay, it's resolution 2023-36, claim schedules for 2024. So it's the begin date and the end date and the claims pay date. So I'll make a motion to approve the claim schedule for 24.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
I suppose the pay schedule is cool, right? Everything you got here is the way it has to fall. So it's resolution 2023-37. It establishes for 2024 the payroll schedule. For the entire year. I'll make a motion to adopt that schedule.
Second.
All in favor?
Oh, I'm sorry, I gave you the wrong one.
That's the wrong one.
And the next one doesn't have an ordinance number on it, but it's the commissioner's meeting date schedule. I guess that coincides, Erica, with the payroll schedule and the claim schedule.
It's 42. She has it. She's got it. It's 42.
Oh, 42.
She gave it to me on
I'm sorry.
the message.
So this coincides with all the claims and payroll, correct? Okay. So I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2023-42. It's a commissioner's meeting day schedule for 2024.
I'll second.
All in favor?
The next one is 43. holiday schedule. It looks like there is 16, is that correct? There's normally 14, but it's election year, so there's 2 days for election day. Yep. It's resolution 2023-43. It's the holiday schedule. I can read if you want all of them. I wrote New Year's Day, Martin Luther King Day, President's Day, Good Friday, Election Day, Memorial Day, Juneteenth, Independence Day, July the 4th, Labor Day, Columbus Day, Election Day, Veterans Day, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. So I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2023-43.
Seconded.
All in favor?
We don't have the minutes yet, so we'll get those at our next regular scheduled meeting. Next we have is our claims or utilities payroll. Regular claims, geez, $1,362,090.33. Utilities, $759,311.91. Lit dollars is $890,121.33. Settlement, I guess that's tax settlement that's been distributed, $9,412,667.60. Payroll of $224,798.21. So we have a second payroll. Oh, for 12/20 or 12/1. I'm sorry. $263,954.76. And I guess you're paying longevity this time. Is that what that is?
No, we did it prior. We did it like last week, week before.
Okay. $64,425. It has been attested by the auditor and signed. So I'll make a motion to approve claims, utilities, lit, settlement, payroll, and longevity.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Pete? No, I thought I was thinking. Amy? No word for listening? Anybody?